Hello, it's Cried here, with the most thorough guide on Beast Claws. This is a new weapon type introduced in Elden Ring's DLC, and you can obtain both Beast Claws fairly early on. The two Beast Claws share the same moveset, so let's take a look at them first. Even though Beast Claws are paired weapons that allow you to hold them on both hands when you two-hand them, let's start with the one-handed light attack chain of the Beast Claw. As you can see, the first attack does a significant leap forward. For a weapon, this leap actually covers quite a bit of distance, but it also means that the Beast Claw has a fairly long animation startup. In fact, it takes as many frames for the Beast Claw to start the attack as a colossal sword. The difference comes in the form of recovery frame, where the Beast Claw recovers nearly immediately. Some of its recoveries are even faster than the other light weapon types in order to make up for its slow animation startup. What this means is, something like the light attack of another weapon can come out really fast after your light attack. For example, here is the offhand frame data for the Beast Claw, which is the same as the main hand one. You can really quickly leap forward and then chain into another weapon's chain with little delay. I'm just mentioning this in case it is useful for some PvP combos, or you might decide to only run a one-handed Beast Claw for its weapon art and to do a little gap closing. Let's transition to the two-handed moveset, as Beast Claws are paired weapons. Like its one-handed version, the two-handed paired light attack of the Beast Claw has quite the long animation time for the startup. This is the paired light attack chain of the Beast Claw. Using Beast Claws as paired weapons is preferable for DPS, as the second hit comes out within a few frames. If we combine the frame data with the superior total damage percent, you can easily see why pairing this weapon up is a good idea. By the way, power stancing Beast Claws is pretty pointless. You end up with its two-handed paired light attack chain with worse recovery on all fronts. The damage numbers are the same. I don't suggest doing it at all, so I won't cover it. Next, this is the two-handed paired heavy attack of the Beast Claw. As with many other Beast Claw moves where you lean down, you can dodge attacks that swing over your head with it. This is the charged heavy attack of the Beast Claw. Beast Claw is one of the rare weapon types with a feint motion, where you can cancel your charged heavy attack into a feint attack by inputting a dodge. Both light and heavy jump attack of the Beast Claw suck because of their short range that offers nothing in particular compared to the other weapon types. Jumping attacks tend to favor weapons that can hit harder with a single strike, or has the range and poise damage to combo into another follow-up. Don't worry though, because there are other ways for a Beast Claw to take the air. The rolling or dodging attack is alright, which also makes the crouch attack just okay. But I kind of like the backstep attack of the Beast Claw, because you step forward so much, and quite quickly at that. Running attacks seem to be the other area where Beast Claws shine with their mobility. The light running attack of the Beast Claw also leaps forward a significant amount of distance, and the heavy running attack of the Beast Claw is only a bit shorter than the light running attack. Overall, the moveset of a Beast Claw does make me feel like a beast ducking and jumping while swiping. I quite like the weapon type's unique movements, and also because of their unique ashes that I will cover in a later section. First, let's take a look at the unique weapon, Red Bear's Claw. Red Bear's Claw has a unique weapon art, Red Bear Hunt, which allows for up to 2 follow-up attacks. This Ash of War actually deals quite a bit of damage and poise damage. You can say it really hits like a bear. Splitting the weapon art into follow-ups means that you can dodge if you need to avoid a hit, instead of completing the lengthy chain. However, you do want to chain the entire weapon art when possible. The third hit hits the hardest, and the delay in between each cast is smaller than the startup of the first hit. From its scaling, you will see that it is obviously a strength weapon. In terms of raw attack, Beast Claws, especially the Red Bear's Claw, has quite a bit of attack compared to other similar light weapon types. On top of that, both Beast Claws also have base bleed. The Red Bear's Claw also has more attack than the heavy version of our next weapon, the Beast Claw. Yes, a Beast Claw named Beast Claw, as per usual. Starting with the heavy infusion, these are the numbers. Now, fire is the other infusion that scales predominantly to strength. The difference is that it has fire damage in addition to physical damage, which means it naturally has higher attack because of the split damage type. But it also means that it has to go through defense twice. Keen Infusion provides less attack than the heavy version, but not by much. If you happen to use a dexterity scaling bullet art, or your other weapons scale a ton better to dexterity, you can use this infusion. Otherwise, I would avoid it. In terms of doing raw damage, assuming equal negation and no other buffs used, Lightning actually has higher attack than even Fire Infusion, despite the fact that Beast Claw is more strength oriented. Still under the assumption of the targets having equal negation, Lightning Infusion tends to deal the most raw damage for Beast Claw, overcoming split damage type more often than not. Quality Infusion can perform better than Heavy if you put in more stat investment. As you can see, at 50 strength and 50 dexterity, which is 80 points of investment above 10 strength and 10 dexterity, you are still falling short. You usually need to go over level 150 for quality to be worth it. So if you're staying at 150 for PvP or to challenge yourself, this is not a recommended infusion. Otherwise, in terms of raw damage, this definitely beats heavy infusion as long as you have the stats to spare. Flame and Sacred are your faith infusions, with the only difference being the secondary damage type. Remember, don't confuse fire and flame, even though they both do fire damage. The main reason why you would run this infusion is for incantations, like if you want to combo the Beast Claw with Pelt of Ralva and Roar of Rugalia for your Bear Communion roleplay. A word of warning though, I tried optimizing for Roar of Rugalia's damage with the Pelt already, which gives 15% more damage. It is quite disappointing. They really put this in as a meme or for the lore. Magic Infusion gives more attack than its Faith counterpart. It isn't bad at all if you're running an intelligence build. To optimize for Cold Infusion, you want to put 20 points into intelligence and then dump your points into strength. Then, afterwards, if you still have stat points, put them into intelligence again. This can be a bit of an awkward stat investment, so you can also consider it over Magic Infusion in an intelligence build if you want to apply Frostbite. Poison and Blood Infusion are the other status infusions. Blood Infusion overrides the Beast Claw's base bleed, instead of adding to it. I don't recommend using the Blood Infusion until very further down the road, because Beast Claw has base bleed. This means that you can run the Occult Infusion coming up next. Poison Infusion allows you to apply poison, and still stack up bleed buildup, as you keep a large portion of the base bleed. As poison remains for quite a while though, you might use it as a swapping tool to quickly apply poison. Finally, we have the Occult Infusion before we look at the unique Ashes of War. Standalone wise, without other buffs, Occult Infusion tends to do well on weapons with base bleed. The Beast Claw is no exception. But do remember, you can't weapon buff an Occult infused weapon. And I've saved the best for the last. Let's take a look at the two unique Ashes of War for Beast Claw. While their affinity is keen, they're actually weapon hits in terms of Ash of War type, so there are no bullet calculations involved. This is good for Beast Claw, as it means you're not forced to use a dexterity scaling infusion. Raging Beast dashes with iframes, and then leaps into the air to strike the enemy from above. You can then input your heavy attack for a follow-up that hits twice. While you have a target locked on, you can dash backwards or sideways as well to reposition. Unfortunately, this does not have hyper armor even in the air, which is one of its biggest weaknesses. Plenty of moves in the air have hyper armor, and getting knocked out of your animation just makes this weapon art subpar. An interesting weapon art where I can see what they're trying to shoot for, but sorely lacking at the moment compared to the other unique Ash available to Beast Claws. Savage Claws is an incredibly powerful weapon art, and a supremely good stagger machine, in the sense that it flinches the enemy and not in the sense that you posture break. Granted, its poise or posture damage isn't low either. This thing has fast attacks that can stagger on every single hit, rendering many enemy types in-game a trivial opponent as you stun lock them in place. It also has decent damage, status damage, and poise damage. Furthermore, even though this weapon art completes all 6 attacks with one click, you have the option to dodge cancel early after the 4th attack if you find yourself in a bad position. It really is an incredibly good weapon art at the moment, especially when all the ducking and jumping can dodge attacks from enemies that don't get staggered. Your weapon art attacks also count as consecutive attacks for talismans like the Rotten Wing or the Godskin Swaddling Cloth. I'll show you how to build the best Beast Claws build in my next video. Like and subscribe so you don't miss it, and also for more optimized builds and weapon breakdowns. If you want to support my work, please consider buying my fantasy novel or donating to my Patreon down below. With a book purchase, you can also request a topic from me. Krite, signing out.